It's half
We're
hour
back.
later. I know. After what feels like months and months of technical, it was only 2 weeks, but it felt awful. It was terrible. 2 weeks of technical difficulties. StreamYard just cramming it into our faces. It was a nightmare. I was so pissed off. Thanks to anybody who turned into our like last minute
Instagram
Instagram
Live.
pivot. Yeah, that was brutal. But we're back. We figured out all the problems. Yeah, they really, man, they like updated their whole system, and in doing so messed up the house of cards that all of this rested on. So appreciate everybody having understanding and patience. But we're back, and this is the second time we've recorded this week, because on Wednesday night, was it Wednesday? Thursday night.
Thursday
Case
night.
and I had a special guest, and it's one of those interviews that you do and you come off of it. And Chase was saying that like we had a little buzz going on. We were a little stoked up. We had a little podcasting buzz. It was so fun. We got to talk to Markian Terasuk, who is the director of Hunting Matthew Nichols, which is a horror movie documentary. It's a mockumentary. It's a fake documentary that turns into a horror movie. Comes out April 10th in theaters. It's independent horror. It's awesome. You guys should buy a ticket now. You should go see it in theater. Go support this movie. We will be releasing the interview April 6th.
April 4th.
Next
Saturday.
Next Saturday.
So next Saturday is a can't miss episode.
Yes.
Again, we had a blast talking with Markian. Hunting Matthew Nichols, April 10th in theaters. Self-released. He
self-funded, self-released, the whole thing.
Yeah. This is something he's been working on for years, has been touring the festival circuit. It's finally now getting released in theaters on April 10th. And me and Aaron had the pleasure of getting to see it early. So thank you to who sent us the screener. So we were able to watch it early. I plan on seeing it again in theaters. So yeah, go see it if you can. It's really good. And it kind of, speaking of, first of all, it's kind of a birthday special today.
Yeah,
happy birthday, Aaron.
Thanks.
Early birthday.
Early birthday. Tomorrow is my birthday. It's my birthday. I got married on my birthday, so I don't have to forget any more dates. No, it was just like the perfect timing for everything to time out. And I got married on my birthday, which is super fun. So we just have a big weekend of celebrations and good times. Tomorrow's the actual day, but tonight we're going out to Little Sparrow in Atlanta, and it's going to be a really nice evening. And I'm just going to enjoy the time with my family and, watch some movies probably.
Yeah.
Love it.
Great way to spend your birthday.
My brother's coming into town next week, and we are going to watch a bunch of totally messed up Asian horror films. That's like our thing that we do together, is like try to find the weirdest of the weird. And like I have The Cat lined up, and I have The Oily Maniac, just some really, really good sleazy trashy movies. We're gonna get into it. It'll be fun.
Hell yeah. But speaking of Markian's film Hunting Matthew Nichols, it kind of aligns with today's topic today.
It does. As a documentary, one of the things they specifically point out in the movie is, I don't want to go into the woods and die like Blair Witch, which is funny because the movie is very much like Blair Witch. And he did that on purpose because he knew that everybody was going to be like, oh, a documentary, it's like Blair Witch. So he had to acknowledge that he knew that the audience was aware of Blair Witch. And I thought that was brilliant. And it's meta. And that is today's topic. We're talking about meta horror films. And meta as a genre is very interesting because it's the idea that a movie is almost aware that you're watching it. It's almost aware of its conventions. And that's it's a relatively modern concept, but as I like to do, being the film historian, armchair film historian that I am, I'm going to bring up two films that were some of the original meta films, maybe three. The first one is not a horror film, but it's called Sherlock Jr. It's a very famous Buster Keaton film, and it's about a projectionist who falls asleep in the projection booth and ends up inside of the movie, running through different genres, westerns and like adventures, and it's a fantastic film full of amazing stunts, like mind-blowing stunts. Buster Keaton's incredible, but yeah, really fun. Um, a really fun movie, worth watching, but it's one of the first examples of something that was meta, because him going inside the movie and being aware of the tropes that the movies bring was cool. But the first horror film that's considered meta is 1960's Peeping Tom, which is also considered one of the proto slashers. Have you seen this one yet?
I have, actually. I've been meaning to pick up the Criterion disc for it.
It's really good. It's about a photographer who shoots sleazy softcore pornography photo shoots during the day, and at night kills women with his camera. He literally takes the tripod, sharpens the end of it, and as he's stabbing them with the tripod, takes their pictures in their last moments. And it is it's actually a really good movie. It's really well done, but it's
very solid.
Its whole idea was like, you as the audience are complicit in how, like, it's actually like a very anti-horror horror movie. Like, they're literally trying to say, like, look at you, sicko, watching this sick stuff, piece of shit. Like, it's trying to condemn the audience, which I think it had the opposite effect. The audience was like, yeah, woo, it's got all the things I want. And yeah, so that's interesting to me. I wouldn't consider it that meta. It's not very heavy-handed in the meta. It's more meta in the concept of, like, what does the watcher watch? And I think that's it's interesting idea. But, like, it's not until, you know, the mid-'80s and then really till Scream that you get movies that are, hey, I know about movies. Scream really set off the modern era of it. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true. New Nightmare came out, which is pretty meta, but like almost ahead of its time meta.
Yeah. So New Nightmare is actually often considered, which I own actually, and it's one of my favorite Nightmare movies.
Yes.
I don't have a singular disc of it. It's in my Blu-ray Freddy film collection. But yeah, this one, it's pretty much set in a universe where the Nightmare on Elm Streets, like our universe, are just movies. Heather Langenkamp is an actress. Robert Englund is an actor. Wes Craven is a director. But Heather Langenkamp gets an offer to come back as Nancy for a new Nightmare on Elm Street that she finds out her husband has been secretly working on and has been designing the glove. And it ends up the world of Nightmare on Elm Street ends up haunting her and her child. And yeah, I think it's definitely one of the strongest Nightmare on Elm Streets. I would say probably third best. Nightmare film,
way high up there on the list. Yeah, absolutely. I concur. That's probably a good place for it. I mean, the Heather Langenkamp trilogy, if you consider it that, where it's like the first one, the third one, Dream Warriors, and then New Nightmare, are just, they work so well together, just like perfect hand in hand.
Oh, beautiful. And so yeah, I mean, it really goes a lot behind the scenes of like what it takes to make a film. I mean, for you as a visual effects artist, I think Heather Langenkamp in real life is actually married to a visual effects artist, which is kind of neat. And even though it's not her real life husband playing, you know, the character, you get to see her husband in the movie work on the Freddy glove, the animatronic for it. Like, it's actually really, like, again, I think it's a great film. Honestly, a beautiful way to conclude the Nightmare on Elm Street film series, you know, especially with the last few of the Freddy movies, you know, pretty much after Dream Warriors, it just kind of goes on a big decline.
Yeah,
where, you know,
definitely kind of start to slip, but yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think it's, but I think pretty much New Nightmare is a great way for kind of Wes Craven to take back control of his child that he had created in 1984. And he's like, you know, I'm taking back control and I'm ending it. And it's a absolutely like beautiful conclusion to the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
It is. And it's interesting because, you know, Wes Craven's working on this and then follows up with Scream, and it's two very meta things. And I think he was just very self-aware of what he had been making, and I think Wes Craven was always very aware of the genre, because I think he was a big critic of the genre. I don't think Wes Craven liked horror necessarily, and he's like, all right, fine. If I have to do it right, I'm going to show you how to do it right. And he always came back around, and was like we did during our series about him. Which was interesting. So New Nightmare and then Scream, and those just before New Nightmare, they're like it's interesting because like meta comes in waves, and meta usually comes in waves when a genre is getting a little bit tired. One of my favorite meta films, and it's not a horror movie, but if I don't get to talk about it during our meta episode, I'm going to be like, what am I doing?
I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. Oh, are they not going to let me do it? Yeah, no, they're going to let me do it. Last Action Hero.
Oh, okay.
This is 1993, and this is one of these movies that's so goddamn ahead of its time. I can't even begin. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, this movie had no business being this interesting and being this meta. And it's a kid goes inside the movie theater, brings an action hero out of it, and he keeps going through things. And there's such an interesting moment in this. And it really is to me one of the best scenes of the whole movie is Arnold Schwarzenegger's having breakfast with the kid's mom. And he's like, I don't hear music. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, you don't always hear music when you walk around. And you realize the movie doesn't explain this. He hears the constant soundtrack of living in a world of movies. You constantly hear the soundtrack as if it's diegetic sound, and he is suddenly blown away by the silence of not having that music following him around. Everywhere he goes, it's dun 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 dun. The action. And I was like, that's so brilliant. Way ahead of its time. New Nightmare, way ahead of its time. The idea that horror could be a mirror on itself. But then Scream sort of wrapped all those ideas back up and put them in a movie, but the characters are aware of movies. Usually, and like zombie movies are the worst about this. They don't know what zombies are. They don't even have the word zombie. Walking Dead, you can't even say the word zombie.
These undead creatures.
The walkers, the deaders, the shufflers. They come up with silly words, but it's like a movie that's seen a horror movie that has seen horror movies. That's interesting.
Yeah. So like the thing is with Scream, we kind of touched on it briefly with our Wes Craven episode. It came out around a time where horror was really in a weird spot because again, slashers had ran its like slashers, which had dominated the 80s. Of course, you had Chucky, Freddy, Jason, a whole bunch of knockoffs. Even Michael Myers, who Halloween came out in 78, came back for a few in the 80s. Had really ran its course.
Yeah.
Of course, you saw dwindling box office numbers for Jason, for the last few Jason movies, for the last few Freddy movies. I mean, Child's Play 3, which is considered one of the weakest of the Chucky franchise, which we talked about in our Chucky episode last year. And then actually, and also like Michael Myers came out with Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, which I don't know if you know the whole story about that production trouble. That we could do a whole half-hour horror episode about.
Oh my gosh,
The Curse of Michael Myers with all the production trouble and the two different edits. And at that point, before Scream, because the Weinsteins had taken over the rights to the Halloween franchise because of the poor reception and box office numbers of Curse of Michael Myers, they were actually planning on putting the Halloween franchise straight to video, kind of like Leprechaun and Hellraiser, what they became. And actually Wes Craven was thinking of retiring from the horror genre because he was just tired of it. He was brought with Scream, and it really brought new life. And again, it's been oversaid and overstated and, said to death, but Scream really did bring new life to the slasher and horror and really helped redefine it, because it's pretty much like they're talking about movies we watch. They're talking about Freddy. They're talking about Candyman. They're talking about Jason and Michael Myers. There's a scene where they're watching Halloween.
They're talking about the
And
rules that we all know, the
yeah,
cliches. I'll be back. Oh, everybody who says that dies. Like that was it was a permission to have fun but still be scary. Like it's not a comedy, but it is making fun of itself.
yeah. I mean, there are a few jokes, but again, they're explaining rules that we know. The virgin has to live. You know, what's the motive? Who's the killer? You know, what's the milestone that's causing the killer to make, you know, the decisions that they're making. It's really, and again, it's just like, I think Dead Meat James said it best on his podcast. Like Scream, when a new Scream comes out, it's really kind of a State of the Union address for horror.
Oh yeah.
As a because of course you have the first Scream, which is talking about horror movies, the rules of slashers. The second one is talking about rules of a sequel. The third one is talking about rules of a trilogy and what the rules are for being the final entry in a franchise. Then you have Scream 4, which came out and
Reboots.
Remakes, reboots, and what was popular around that time, torture. We're on YouTube. Corn, which was kind of popularized by Saw and Hostel, and you know, the new wave of splatter flicks. You have Scream 5, which came out in 2022, which was talking about the kind of rebirth of the legacy sequel, where you introduce a new cast and mix them in with the old cast. And then Scream 6, which is talking about the rules of becoming a long-running franchise with numerous sequels.
Yeah. You've reached, yeah. It's interesting that is a really interesting thing that the Screams has always taken the pulse, for better or worse. I think sometimes they miss the mark in some of that, but I do like. I mean, I always will come back to the first four and say they're so solid, and I think the new ones had a lot of really good set pieces in them. But yeah, as far as like, you know, there's before Scream, there's after Scream, and in the '90s, I think that really really changed the game. It definitely edged things more funny. Like it made movies a little bit more comedic. The self-referential idea of it became kind of the hot ticket. One movie that I want to mention before we get too far into the '90s that has a really great meta moment in it. This is 1985, Return of the Living Dead, and it literally references, hey, I saw that movie, George Romero, Night of the Living Dead. You got to hit him in the head. And he hits it in the head with the pickaxe. And then it's like, it's freaking out. And, oh my God. And it is a very meta zombie film, which tells you it's like, you know, when you can start making fun of the tropes of a movie that the genre had already run its course, and zombies petered out and then came back with the Walking Dead era. But I love Return of the Living Dead, and I love that they are aware of the zombies of it all, and like, oh, it's so funny, so good.
Yeah, and then Return of the Living Dead, one of the greatest zombie films ever made. So fun. Another one that kind of has somewhat of a meta reference, kind of little pre-Scream, Gremlins 2.
Oh God, yes. Oh yeah, Gremlins 2. All right.
I mean, there's the whole movie. There's the whole movie theater scene where Hulk Hogan makes a cameo where they're showing the movie, like the movie as you're watching, then like it shows like the film burning, Gremlins in the background, then Hulk Hogan comes out. You guys just never cut that out. I'm gonna watch this movie. Like,
yeah, I came here to eat popcorn, drink soda, and you guys better set it up. And then he looks at the camera and goes, sorry about that, folks. And it continues on. I watch Gremlins or Gremlins 2 probably 2 to 3 times a month. My kid watches Gremlins 2 a lot. That part of that movie is so hard to explain to a child in this era. First of all, the movie theater the film burning aspect of it, she doesn't know what film is. She doesn't understand that this was in a movie theater. This only exists on the TV to her. A movie theater is a pretty abstract concept to her still, that people go. We've only been to one movie. So it's like, I mean, I just watch everything at home. I have a huge screening room. Like I don't need, I rarely go, but so that blows her mind. What's happening with all that? And then this guy stands up, rips his shirt off. Why does that man rip his shirt off? Why is that man angry? Why
Who
is
that man?
Yeah, who is that man? And I'm like, so I had to explain that to her. Well, he was a wrestler. He was famous. People recognize him for being in this movie. That is a huge concept to her. What a famous person making a cameo. Now you're explaining film, 35 millimeter film burns, movie theaters, cameos, wrestling.
I was getting ready to say, when you start taking her to more movies as she gets older, you're going to have to explain to her the difference between movie theaters back when they showed film and now it's all digital, like AMC, pretty much most independent theaters, pretty much all the major chains only use digital projectors. Yep. It's very rare. Like you occasionally will get, like, I know you talked about when you went and saw Frankenstein, Guillermo
we had a film burn
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
It was, you said it was shown on 35 millimeter, where when I went to go see it, wow. Okay.
We had a, it was like, whoa. And they fixed it and kept going. It was great.
Yeah. See, like when I went and saw it at a regional chain that has a location in my city, and they showed it digital. And I mean, now the only thing, there's no film burnouts. It's just like, oh, the digital projector didn't cut on. Like I've had that happen a couple of times. So now you're going to have to explain to her when she gets older and starts going to theaters more, like, yeah, well, see, film was this, and this is what they exclusively showed at movie theaters.
So crazy. And then breaking the fourth wall. Why is he talking to you? It is one of the most confusing moments in cinema history, because I think it's just a baffling thing. It's amazing though, and that movie is so meta, because it also, I don't think it likes itself. I think the movie is like, oh, you thought this goofy puppet movie was good? It's like it's trying to piss you off by just throwing everything in the kitchen sink and just being as goofy as possible.
I mean, they even make fun of, I know you said when you watch with your daughter, there's one scene you had to fast forward to, and it's Phoebe Cates talking about the death Santa, of her father, dressing up as Santa. And she goes like onto like one of those like dramatic speeches, like, my father did this once. And she starts going to the store. They're like, okay, enough. Like they didn't.
He was dressed like Abraham Lincoln at the park. It was President's Day, not President's Day. So goofy. Yeah. That came out. When did Gremlins 2 come out? 1990.
I was going to say early 90s.
So there's a film from 1991 that is a meta horror film about film students putting on a film festival celebrating all the William Castle gimmicks, like the Tingler and Smell-O-Vision and the Shocker, all these gimmicks. But during the movie, during the film festival, people are dying from the gimmicks, and there's a killer inside the theater, Phantom of the Opera style. And this movie is called Popcorn, 1991. This movie is it's a VHS cover from that era that I will never forget. Like, this was always one that kind of freaked me out. I love this cover. It's a pretty good movie. It's very weird though, in the sense of this. It's an American film made in Jamaica, but it's supposed to be like somewhere in California or New York. Like it's not supposed to be in Jamaica. All of your extras are Jamaican. Outside the movie theater, there's a guy with like a steel drum, just like dun, 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 and you're like, what is going on? All the extras are Jamaican. They all have Jamaican accents, and it's baffling in the context of the movie, because you're like, what is happening? Where's this movie theater? The gimmicks are pretty solid. The killer's a really weird, like, twisted character. He's got a really goofy voice, like the bad guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But it has like really fun kills. So like the Tingler, famously was like rumble strips under your seat. And like as the centipede would crawl through the audience, your seats would go, and it's like, ah. And then there's like ones that would shock you, and he dials it up to 20, and a guy gets electrocuted. Like Smell-O-Vision like drips acid on a guy, and like all sorts of interesting things like that, like turning the gimmick into a murder weapon. And I really like this movie for what it is, but it is a really funny movie.
I have not seen this. I'm adding it to my watch list. I'm trying to find it. It's streaming nowhere. The only place I'm seeing is YouTube. So
oh, where did I see this then? I mean, it's been a while. I think I probably got it. I probably saw it originally on VHS. But I
have seen that. I know you have mentioned it before, so I'm gonna have to add this to my watch list. Like, I think you even mentioned it during our Phantom of the Opera episode back when we were on X Spaces.
It's very Phantom of the Opera adjacent. Yes, very, very much so.
So I want to take things down a notch. Been talking about movies we think are fun and silly. I want to talk about something that's pretty depressing and dark. That's pretty meta.
But it's called Funny Games. Yeah.
Funny Games from 19. It's not funny. It's not funny at all.
This is more in line with Peeping Tom in the sense that its meta nature is on the audience. Are you enjoying that? Are you watching this? Are you watching? You're part of this. You're part of this violence. And I thought, we've talked about this before. How do you feel about Funny Games? Like I don't know. It's a hard one.
It's a difficult watch. Of course, there's two versions. There's the original from 1997, which is an Austrian film spoken in German, excuse me, which you can actually find on Criterion Collection, which I have right here.
Yeah.
And I bet if you don't feel like reading subtitles, there is a version that came out in 2000. Let me fact check myself real quick. 2007, that was an American production, which is essentially a shot-for-shot, word-for-word remake, also called Funny Games, starring Naomi Watts and Tim Roth. They're not funny, but yeah, it's very dark. And of course, the meta part of it is the fourth wall breaking by the film's two villains.
Yeah.
Because again, they're doing these atrocities. It's a home invasion horror film. And they're doing these atrocities with this family, putting them through just sick games like find your dog that we killed. Like it's really, and then occasionally through the movie, one of the villains will look at the camera directly to the audience and essentially say like stuff like, yeah, what we're doing sick, but you're enjoying this. You're getting entertainment out of this. Like it's a difficult movie to watch.
Yeah, it really is a rough one. I think it's one of those ways that's like, I think it's important if you're studying cinema, I think it's one of those things that's kind of up there with like, I don't know, a movie like Salo or like Schindler's List.
Salo.
Yeah, like it has a place, Serbian film. It has a place, but its purpose is to make you uncomfortable. And it's a study of why are you watching this? What is the purpose of this?
First of all, don't watch Serbian film. Don't watch.
No,
that's a movie I haven't watched.
Oh,
I refuse to watch it. I've heard about some of the things in it, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to pretend this movie doesn't exist.
I mean, like all those films of the extreme nature, like the reason I don't think it's just thrown in the garbage, because people have made a lot of really disgusting films. There's a lot of disgusting films. There's whole films about puke and stuff and torture and shit. But Serbian film stands out because of its subtext, because of what it's meaning, and it's about the government, of what the Serbian government was doing to its people, and that allegory is hard to swallow. It's rough.
And then same with
the movie's really. Yeah. Oh my God.
That's. I know I told the story in the podcast before, but it was one of those days I was looking for something to watch. I was looking for pretty like a hardcore horror film, and I texted one of my buddies. I was like, "Hey, give me something messed up and he had said Salo 120 Days in Sodom. I was like, okay, cool.
God damn, yeah.
I looked it up, and I remember just texting them back after. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? And you can find that one on Criterion Collection too.
Yeah, that's another one that's considered important for its timing. It really is a mirror to a psyche that is so bizarre. One of these days, again, it's like one of those ones. I don't want to do this, but I do want to do an episode on The Extreme at some point.
We probably can't do that on YouTube.
Well, we can talk about it. I think we can. I think if we keep it open and keep it surface level about like what it is about it that draws people to it, I think we could. But like, you know, films like this, Martyrs, but they're not meta films. Funny Games is though. Funny Games is. Yeah. Funny Games is gnarly. Both of them are. I don't know. It's interesting because they're both made by the same filmmaker. It'd be interesting to see like which one for him is the one to watch. Like, hey, if you're going to recommend this to somebody, like, does he find the original better? Or because he's involved with both of them so closely, is he like, no, the first one was a trial one, the second one's actually better? I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, it's essentially the same movie. I mean, again, it's just for me, like, it just depends on if, you know, there's so many people that don't like watching foreign films because they don't want to have to read subtitles.
Yeah.
But again, it just all depends on whether you feel up to reading subtitles, you know, and watching the original version, or do you want to just watch the movie and see big stars like Tim Roth, Naomi Watts, and future actor turned director Brady Corbet?
Yeah. The very next year, a meta horror film came out, and it's the fourth film in a franchise, one of your favorites, Bride of Chucky.
Yes, which I have. Love this movie. Yeah, and again, this also goes back to Scream. I mean, because again, we said it before, Scream really changed the game. I mean, because again, that came out, was a huge hit, shot some new life into horror. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, after Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, the Weinsteins were planning on just making Halloween a direct-to-video franchise. But because of Scream, and because Kevin Williamson, the writer of Scream, was interested in helping out with the new Halloween movie, you got a new Halloween movie in theaters. It stars Jamie Lee Curtis. They got Jamie Lee Curtis, who at that time, well, she still is, huge box office draw. She had left horror to do more mainstream. Then also, not only did it kind of revive Halloween, but it also revived the Chucky franchise. As we mentioned, after Chucky came out, after Child's Play 3 came out, is considered the worst in the franchise, Don Mancini was like, yeah, I'm going to take a break with Chucky. And of course, because of Scream, he was inspired to do Bride of Chucky, which again, Child's Play. I mean, the thing is, it references how ridiculous it is that a child's toy is scary. Like, I mean, yeah, I love Chucky. That's my favorite horror franchise. But again, it is, I can admit, it's ridiculous that people are scared of this little killer doll, like Child's Toy. And they make reference of that. They make reference, like there's one scene where they talk about Chucky coming back to life. And he's like, yeah, it's a story that, it'll take about 3 or 4 different sequels to get right.
That's funny. It's great how meta it is. I mean, Voodoo for Dummies and things like that. But it was aware. It was aware of how ridiculous it is to even get a fourth film in a killer doll movie. Camp works really well with meta. Kind of goes hand in hand. You can wink at yourself and still be involved with it. I love Bride of Chucky, and I think it was also a moment where Chucky just had a huge crossover hit because of Jennifer Tilly, and it brought in a huge audience. So
I mean, I think late 90s it was all about, you know, edgy, dark. Like, you got to think, like at that time, like Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie were getting played on MTV. I mean, Hot Topic and Spencer stores that was like peak, like, you know, goth culture. And of course they gave Chucky a new look, which I have his Bride of Chucky look right here.
Oh, I love the stitched up face. It's so good.
Yeah, and I mean, you couldn't walk to the mall, past the Spencer's and Hot Topic around that time was seeing stacks of cut up Chucky and Tiffany dolls like on the windows of Hot Topic and Spencer's.
It's amazing. It's a great movie, and it was a great moment for that franchise. I think it's a high watermark for that franchise. I think it's been. I think that's one of the best ones. It's also so polished. They did a great job.
Yeah, and I mean Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky himself, has even said it's his favorite.
It's his favorite one. That's cool. A couple of years later, another one that you have. I'm pretty sure you got this in your stack right there. Do you have Behind the Mask: Rise of Leslie Vernon?
I'm glad you asked. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So as a it's a documentary following somebody who wants to be a modern slasher, and it's a very interesting take. I like this movie a lot, and it is it's got a lot of atmosphere, but unfortunately just did not get the marketing and never got the sequel it deserved.
No, I mean it's it's one of those films that, so of course it's a mockumentary about a up and coming filmmaker that wants to make a documentary about an up and coming slasher. And this is set in a world not like where these are movies like Scream, like where they're like, oh yeah, we're watching Halloween, we're watching Chucky, we're watching Candyman. This is set in a world where Chucky, Freddy, Jason, Michael are actual people and historical figures.
Yeah.
And they're considered like greats among kind of the slasher people who are slasher communities. And you have this upcoming star, Leslie Vernon, who's allowing this documentary filmmaker to film his excursion into his first big and he makes several references like, see that's the one I've been stalking. I chose her because she's a virgin. That's my survivor girl. And they said, well, why kill the other people? Because that's the supporting cast. You got to have the supporting cast. You got to have the friends. You have the stoner, you have the jock, you have the sexually open girl. Like
it's very aware of its tropes and then
the Ahab, which is like the I actually rewatched this last night. If you haven't seen this, again, very, very, very underrated film. And then he talks about then Robert Englund comes to the mix to halt his murders. He's like, yeah, that's my Ahab. See, where I'm the representation of good, he's the representation, or I'm the representation of evil. He's the representation of all things that's good. And he has a history with me. So he's my mortal enemy. So he's like the Dr. Loomis kind of character. And yeah, you have several even cameos from big name like horror legends. Like you have Kane Hodder makes a brief appearance.
Yeah.
Robert Englund plays the Dr. Loomis style character. You have Zelda Rubinstein from Poltergeist makes up here as the librarian that knows about the legend of Leslie Vernon.
It's spectacular. The writing of it's great. The atmosphere of it's great. And then it turns into a legitimate slasher. But very unique, and it really, really a bummer that it was underserviced. I got to see it in theater when it came out, and it was awesome. But it unfortunately is a bummer that it never went anywhere after that.
Yeah, I mean there's been talks of them doing a sequel for years. I know they eventually released a comic book. Comic book for the sequel, and it's one of those. It's gaining popularity. I mean, they're still showing little specialty screenings of it at conventions, and there's more of a growing audience for it where they're wanting to see it. So hopefully, one of these days they'll do a sequel for it, because I think there's so much potential for it. Because again, it is smart. I mean, I really do love the training montage where he's trying to get in shape for this big kill.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like explaining, and he's like, yeah, cardio is everything. How do you think it looks like they're running their asses off and I'm just slowly walking behind them? It's because of my cardio.
And it's funny because that rule comes up again in another meta on my list. God, cardio's number one. But when you talk about like the archetypes of a horror film, like Behind the Mask and the slashers, it immediately to me calls up Cabin in the Woods, which we talked about so many times on the show. I mean, it's one of our all-time favorites. A Cabin in the Woods is like one of the greatest meta horror films. It's the ultimate meta horror film, in my opinion, because it just combines everything. It literally covers every aspect of the horror genre, and brilliantly so.
Yeah, this one is another great one. Fun fact, I mean, it was filmed in 2009. It didn't get released until I think what 2012.
You froze a little bit there.
How about now?
You're back.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it was filmed in 2009. It didn't get released until 2012. Was it 2012 when it got released, or 2013?
Come on, tell me. 2011.
2011. Okay. Yeah. So again, that was because of MGM's were having financial struggles at the time, and of course, you get to see well, technically, it came out after Chris Hemsworth was Thor, but you get to see Chris Hemsworth before he was Thor, because this was filmed before he became Thor.
You're freezing again, but I think the reason this movie was released when it did is because of Chris Hemsworth. I think they didn't know what to do with this movie, and then he had a big star push, and they were like, "Oh, drop that movie that we've had on the shelf."
Yeah, but yeah, it's one of those that's a lot of fun. It kind of goes into where this underground society. Am I still freezing?
Nope, you're back.
Okay. Where this underground society is actually controlling the strings. And it's like basically every horror movie character you get is controlled by this underground society to kind of as like a cult. And they need the blood sacrifice. So you get like the hillbilly zombies, you get the werewolves, you get the giant creatures, the Japanese ghosts, the evil ghosts. Like it's
merman.
It's all, yeah, the merman, which is my favorite part of the movie. You got the unicorn, like the Hellraiser ripoff. Like it's so good, and it's all controlled. Like, yeah, we need this blood of scared people in these horror movie situations so the Earth can survive. It's a lot of fun, and it does make references. Yeah, there's a lot of things you'll see, like, oh, that's a direct nod to Evil Dead. And again, the Cabin in the Woods thing, even if you watch the way it's shot when they introduce the cabin, it's just like Evil Dead.
Amazing how they pulled this all together, and there's so many references and so many monsters, and it just keeps building and building and building to a ridiculous level. I can't believe that movie got made. Love it. It's absolutely one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, same. It's one I didn't get a chance to rewatch, but I'm definitely going to rewatch it tonight. And then a couple years later, you get another great meta horror movie with The Final Girls.
Yes, I love this movie. Directed by a friend of mine who I've worked with many times on TV shows and movie, Todd Strauss-Scholzen. This is just surprisingly a beautiful film because it's about loss, and it's about the mother-daughter relationships. And I think there's a brilliance to it that is a little underrated, but it has a really great cast, a really funny cast, who would go on. They would all go on to do big things. I mean,
Taissa Farmiga,
Malin Akerman, Nina Dobrev,
Adam Devine is in it, who of course is like a big comedy star now.
Tom Middleditch, he was the biggest guy at the time, right?
Yeah, Alexander. Well, I mean, maybe Alexander Ludwig, because he had done Hunger Games. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I mean, of course, this follows a young girl who lost her mother to a tragic car accident. Her mother was a struggling actress who had starred in horror movies, slasher movies back in the day, and was a struggling actress after. Of course, she had survived. This came out in 2015. She had survived a few years later. They could have done a sequel where now she's a hit on the convention circuit and doing you know, which happens, and then doing making appearances on numerous like Shudder films, which first of all, I love that now that Shudder, you got these kind of like Shudder productions that where they're hiring legacy kind of horror actors
Yeah.
and giving them work. But yeah, but so during a screening of her mother's slasher film that made her famous, where she was one of the first kills, a fire breaks out and sends her and her friends to the world of the movie.
Yeah, trapped in the film. It's brilliant. The casting's great. The effects are good. But then suddenly it becomes a very poignant film. A lot of films start out as a poignant movie and then turn into a slasher. This starts as a slasher and then turns into something really emotional about her connection to her mother and her being able to say goodbye to her mother. And I don't know. I was really impressed with that. I like it. I love the vibe. I love the meta nature of it, trying to, call out these tropes of horror. But then, like, I don't know, calling out these tropes of like movies where it's just like how people let go. And she like makes fun of that. She's like, I'm not just going to forget about it because the music swells and the moment is here. Like you have to earn your peace. You don't just get to stop being sad because some event or some amount of time has passed. Like you don't have to let go of your grief. You have to earn that. And I think that's a smart message. Movie's way smarter than it has any right to be. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And again, it is about grief. Again, you have this girl who's kind of, struggling to move on, who's trapped in the world of this movie. She's talking to the character, she's making friends with the character that her mother portrayed in the movie, who's one of the first opening kills, and she's actually helping her survive along the way. So, and again, it gets kind of emotional because it's like, she finally gets to say goodbye to her mother where she didn't get a chance to, or originally. And I think that, very beautiful film.
In 2015, a movie came out, and I love this movie. Nobody saw it, but I bought it on Blu-ray the first chance I could. Dude Bro Party Massacre 3.
I've seen this one.
Don't go looking for 1 and 2. They don't exist. But you are watching the third movie in a franchise that isn't real, and it is hysterical. It's very chaotic. It is nonstop, like gross humor, very goofy, but in a way that for me was all part of the parody, because it's making fun of shitty jocks. It's making fun of sequels and bad horror franchises. House Mother. It's funny because the first one like gives you flashbacks to the first two movies that you're like, wait, I've never seen this movie. And they're like, yeah, don't even worry about it. One of the biggest parts about this movie that's hysterical is that this frat house always does these horrible pranks, and one year they accidentally flooded an entire town and killed thousands of people. Great prank. Great, hilarious prank. And that keeps coming back to bite them. It's hysterical. There's just, I don't know, a lot of really good gags, some pretty solid kills, but like when it doesn't work or it's cheesy, they're just like, what do you want? You're watching Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, but then sometimes it surprises you with how good the horror elements are, how good the comedy elements are, and the whole time it is just it's pretty chaotic in that sense. And I love it. Like I said, I bought it.
I mean, this is one that's actually kind of found new life
good.
over the last few years, because Dead Meat covered it on their kill count. And it's currently, I think still currently the reigning kill count champion, where it has the most number of bodies in a horror film that he's reviewed so far. So.
Well, if you count the thousands that died in there,
that's what he does.
Yeah, they're a hilarious prank. Thousands have died in this flood. It is a pretty high body count. I mean, they're killing people left and right, and they keep it going. It's a fast moving movie. I don't think the humor is going to hit for everybody. I don't even know if it holds up. So apologies,
so
but it's so goofy that, like, again, part of it, you're like, that's not very, that that joke isn't funny. Like they're a bunch of shithead jocks anyway. Like they're frat
What do you
bros. What do you
expect?
want? Yeah, what do you want from these shithead frat bros? It's hysterical. I really do like this movie. I can't get anybody to watch it or like it. So I'm glad that you've seen it. I'm glad that you liked it. Absolutely bananas bonkers, but a great entry to a meta world.
Another one I want to add is kind of a little of a surprise. One we didn't.
What else we got? Are you still? Oh no!
Uh-oh.
You're back. I can hear you.
Okay.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
I don't know what the hell's going on my internet today. Okay, can you see me?
I can hear you. There you are. You're back.
Okay. So another one I want to talk about. It's one that I didn't get a chance to talk about on.
Oh, the internet is not our friend today. Hey, at least we got YouTube working. That's what I got to say.
Yeah,
we're back on YouTube.
Yeah.
We got it working again. StreamYard was trying to end the podcast, but we fought him back and we won the day. The internet's not cooperating today, but hey,
am I good?
Some you lose some, but at least we're streaming again.
Okay, am I good, y'all? Or
there you are.
Okay, cool. Okay, so one I want to talk about, hopefully it doesn't freeze on me, is Demons. Oh fuck!
Good. I like Demons. I can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, it is set where these friends get invite to a mysterious movie, little known, supposedly cursed horror movie, and it turns out the events in the movie, the creatures in the movie, start coming into the real world.
Love this movie. Love the soundtrack on this movie.
Yeah, great soundtrack.
It's an Italian film. It's a kind of giallo adjacent, not really giallo because it's all monsters, but it's an Italian horror film. Great gore, bitchin' soundtrack, cool zombie demon monsters. One crawls out of this lady's back, and you're like, whoa, why does that happen? They're like, don't even worry about it. Just you buckle up, dude. You're along for the ride. It is a wild one. This is fun. I like Demons. What makes it meta though? That's just the part. It's on a lot of meta lists. And is it just because it's in a movie theater and sometimes you don't know if you're watching the movie or the movie's like part of it?
I think that's what it is. It's you got you don't know what's in universe real world, and you don't know what's going on in the movie. I mean, this could all just be the movie, but again, you're seeing the horror movie on screen, you know, that they're watching, and it's kind of following a lot of the tropes. Then when it breaks out into the real world, it starts taking on a lot of those tropes too. I mean, these people are watching something you'd expect they know what to do, but when a disaster happens in front of them, they don't know what to do.
I'm going to do a brief mention of 3 films. Happy Death Day 2 U, and Totally Killer, time travel loop horror films with a meta twist. I like all of these movies. Totally Killer got a lot of shit because people were like, oh, it's too silly. I loved it. It was very goofy, absolutely. Very meta, absolutely. But also very time travel-y fun, and I like that. And I think Karen Shipka is great. I don't know. I really like her as a final girl. And I mean, this movie in the 80s and the time travel shit is hilarious. The credits rolling is amazing because it's just a list of all the shit that is changed and fucked up because of her time travel shenanigans. It's all they're just like, oh, by the way, you have a brother now, and she's like, what? It's just like that. Then they roll credits. It's like, your time traveling has messed everything up. I dig it. So yeah, any other mentions for you?
Only one I can really think of is Seed of Chucky. Again, I know this gets a lot of crap, but
kept the meta rolling though. Rolling.
It went even more meta. It went if you thought Bride of Chucky was meta, Seed of Chucky takes the meta up here. Again, it's set in the world where Jennifer Tilly is an actress, and you have Tiffany, voiced by Jennifer Tilly, who's a huge Jennifer Tilly fan.
Huge Jennifer Tilly fan, yes.
Yeah, at this point, Jennifer Tilly, at this point in her career, was really struggling. and you get a lot of jokes that supposedly Jennifer Tilly wrote herself that are very harsh about her career at that point.
Yeah.
You get to see a lot of kind of the in making of them making a Chucky movie, which is in universe set on the rumored urban legend of Chucky. Yeah, it's basically, you know, Bride of Chucky is a horror film first, but it adds a lot of comedy. Where I think Seed of Chucky is a comedy film first, but it has like some of it again. I mean, it's pretty much a comedy film first. It's pretty much goes into self-parody territory where,
100%.
you know, yeah, where, but it also, like, it does have some kills. Yeah, but yeah, I think it's a really fun little underrated gem.
100%. Pretty solid. Really solid. It's consistent, at least. You know, I
Yeah,
know it's not everybody's favorite, but at least it delivers on a puppet killing people
yeah,
consistently. The kills and the Chucky and how you like roll all that stuff out. That entire franchise has been consistent. Sure, some movies are better than others, some scripts work better than others, but like Chucky always delivers. He's going to show up, he's going to kill some people, it's going to be interesting, it's going to be funny, always delivers. And I will always argue that the Child's Play franchise and the television show are the most consistent of all the horror franchises. Give me any other horror franchise that has not had as many ups and downs. Like, you know, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's like, whoa, nosedive. Like all of them fall apart or get stale or have like a real stinker in there. Like I know, yeah, I know a lot of people shit on Seed, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, but it's still consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Chucky. I think that, along with Scream, are two of the longest running horror franchises that haven't had a timeline split, if you don't count the 2019 Child's Play reboot, which, I mean, it's an okay film, but I just don't. But I don't count it. But I mean, it hasn't had a timeline split. You know, it pretty much has stayed and it kept a somewhat consistent tone, even though they did add elements of comedy and meta later on. It's kept a consistent tone and storyline where there isn't any kind of, you know, split in timeline. There isn't any, how can I say it? Like, what do you call it? Whenever retconning. So yeah, I mean, the Chucky franchise is very consistent.
Sorry, my kid came up to show me her new
you're
dress.
Good.
Looks great.
Oh, okay.
Cutie. The last film I'm going to mention, we got to sign off. One Cut of the Dead. This movie came out in 2017. I could not get through it at first because the first 30 minutes of this movie are a shitty zombie movie. And I've seen lots of shitty zombie movies, but this one's particularly shitty. And then my brother was like, no, dude, you got to get past the 30-minute mark. Just get past the first 30 minutes. And you're like, all right, fine. And then it turns into this beautiful film about the chaos of making a movie. But the first 30 minutes are a shitty zombie movie. And you're like, okay. And then it's them rewind, them pitching, we're going to shoot a zombie movie, but we're going to do the whole thing in one take. And they're like, okay, we'll give you the money to do it. And they're like, great. Then it goes to them making the movie that you watched all in one take. But everything is turning into a disaster. The cameraman who's supposed to be running the camera gets violent diarrhea and keeps having to run off and shit himself. So the director is running around with the camera and handing it off to other people. Everything is failing. So he's like literally like taping up the mic, holding everything. And they're like, the jib's not set up for your final shot. The crane that's supposed to lift you up into the air is not set up. And the director is like, I'm just going to spoil this movie. I'm so sorry, guys. The director's like, we need that shot. We need that shot, while he's running around and filming and talking to everybody. And the zombies are going around. And he's like, he runs up to the roof and he's like, I'm just going to jump off the roof with the camera. That's going to be the shot. I'm going to die. And his whole crew runs up to the roof and they just start one by one. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. One by one, flash dancing him and lifting him up into the air as they build a human pyramid and just carry him up into the air for the crane shot to finish the movie. And like, that's brilliant. It is brilliant. And it ends in such a heartwarming note of just like the power of filmmaking and the power of your friends. And it's just a brilliant one take film. But you have to get through the shitty movie that they made. The movie they made for all that work is complete dog shit. But like sitting through it then rewards you by showing the brilliance that it took to make this piece of shit. It's brilliant. It really is a genius film. Like I said, it's great. Absolutely worth it. So meta because the whole thing is about making the movie, and just really fun.
I'll add that to my watch list now.
Yeah, like I said, the 30 minutes are rough, very rough, because it's probably the worst zombie movie you've ever seen. You're like, oh boy, but I didn't know that it then would like reward you for that piece. But it is interesting. They keep threatening they're going to remake it. I'm like, why? Don't do that. This movie's great. So yeah, guys. The meta. We did it. We talked about it. 2 podcasters talking about movies and talk about movies. We should give away some blood coin this week. This week I'm ready. Blood coin keyword meta. If you go to Block of Horror, open up a ticket, type in the word meta, we'll hook you up. As mentioned earlier on our show, we had a director on this week. We talked with Marky Tarasuk on Thursday, who directed Hunting Matthew Nichols, which comes out April 10th in theaters. Brilliant documentary. Well, it's a mockumentary. It's a fake documentary, but it's a horror film. And you guys should go see it because it's independently funded, independently produced, independently released in theaters. The distribution is independent. That's insane. It's insane. Yeah. And I think
Aaron,
am I freezing?
Froze. Yeah, you just froze for a second.
I said it's worth getting behind this. Get behind.
Oh, I think he froze again.
Well, good thing we're wrapping it up.
Yeah.
It's good to be back. Hopefully the internet gets better for us. But go see Hunting Matthew Nichols. Chase, plugs.
Yeah, first of all, see me here every Saturday with you, Aaron, on Half Hour Horror. Follow me on all my socials at OHChase. Go see Hunting Matthew Nichols in theater April 10th. And tune in next week for Half Hour Horror with our interview with Mark-Ann Tarusik. And, I've been doing this. We've been a part of the Half Hour Horror crew for 2 years now. And I'll tell you, Aaron, as part of everyone watching and a part of the Block of Horror family, we wish you a very happy birthday. It's been a pleasure being a part of this show. I feel like every week, because, again, our whole dynamic for this show is Aaron is a horror fan who works in the film industry. I'm a horror fan that doesn't. And, I feel like with our audience, we give them 2 different perspectives, kind of like how we view film. And I feel like that's kind of like what makes, doing this so special. Because I feel like I get to learn something every week. And, Aaron has been, you've been doing this for Half Hour Horror before I joined on. And, we thank you for everything and we wish you a happy birthday.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Here's to many more. I'm going to spend fun time with my family and watch some horror movies.
Yeah.
So follow us on all things social media, Block of Horror, OHChase on all his socials. But I really appreciate you guys and what a fun way to kick off the weekend. So thanks everybody. Have a good one.